Hey everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive. You know how we always say we try to keep you ahead of the curve in AI? Well, get this. This entire deep dive was researched and generated using AI.
Pretty meta, right?
Yeah, and we're talking about AI news researched by AI?
Talk about staying on the cutting edge. But hey, that's what we do here.
It is. Okay, so today we've got a lot to unpack. Started with this Chinese startup, DeepSeek AI. They're making some serious waves.
Waves is an understatement. They're practically causing a tsunami. Their AI model, R1, is already going toe-to-toe with the big guys like OpenAI and Google. And that's not even the craziest part.
Right, the cost. I mean, how do they pull this off for a measly $6 million?
Right. When the competition is dropping billions, they're using some seriously innovative techniques, like this thing called sparsity. It's basically like streamlining the model, making it leaner and meaner without sacrificing performance.
So like imagine you've got this massive library, but you only need a handful of specific books.
Exactly. Sparsity is like having a super efficient librarian who knows exactly which books you need, no time wasted. In AI terms, it means the model focuses on the most important data connections, needs less computing power, boom, cost effective.
So this could be a game changer.
Huge. This could bring cutting-edge AI development to smaller companies, more competition, more innovation. It's shaking things up for sure.
Which honestly is exciting, but
Yep.
like with any disruptive force, there's always another side to the story, right?
Oh, absolutely. And DeepSeek is finding that out the hard way. They're facing some pretty serious accusations.
Starting with data misuse, right?
Yeah, OpenAI, the folks behind ChatGPT, are claiming DeepSeek used their data to train R1, which could be a big no-no depending on their terms of service.
A legal battle for the ages brewing there, maybe. And then there's the whole censorship issue. DeepSeek's models are filtering out info, sensitive information, let's say, that the Chinese government doesn't like.
Which raises all sorts of red flags about, freedom of expression bias, what happens when an AI is trained to censor. That bias gets baked in, and suddenly we're talking about controlling access to information. Big, big implications.
It's a slippery slope for sure. And speaking of slippery slopes, Italy just went and banned DeepSeek outright.
First country to do so, data privacy is their main concern. They're claiming DeepSeek hasn't been upfront about their data collection practices, how they're complying with the EU's GDPR, that whole thing.
It's a huge deal, right? I mean, this is a major company, and Italy just said, nope, not in our backyard.
Exactly. It really highlights how tricky it is to regulate AI across borders, especially with all these different data privacy laws globally. DeepSeek's walking a tightrope right now, and their future might depend on how they handle all of this.
It's a story we'll definitely be following. But for now, let's shift gears to another legal battle that's got the AI community buzzing. The lawsuit against Perplexity AI.
Oh, yeah, that's a juicy one. It's an AI-powered search engine. Ask a question, get an answer. Seems harmless enough, right?
Until News Corp comes knocking.
Exactly. News Corp, the folks who own the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post, all those big names, they're claiming Perplexity is using their articles without permission to power its search results. Basically, they're saying Perplexity is copying and republishing their content.
And this is way bigger than just some plagiarism case, right?
Absolutely. This is about how AI interacts with intellectual property in the digital age. I mean, what happens to ownership and authorship when AI is scraping and remixing content from all over the internet? How do we even define copyright anymore? It's a huge question.
So how's Perplexity fighting back?
They're probably going to lean on the whole fair use argument. You're allowed to use snippets of copyrighted material for commentary, news reporting, stuff like that. But the question is, does that apply to an AI scraping content on a massive scale? That's where things get murky.
And the courts are going to have to decide.
Yep. And the decision could have a massive ripple effect. If News Corp wins, it could set a precedent that forces all these AI companies to get licenses for any copyrighted material they use.
Which could be a huge blow for startups who can't afford those kinds of deals. But on the flip side, if Perplexity wins, it could basically be a free-for-all for AI to use any copyrighted content it wants.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Big implications for writers, artists, everyone who creates content.
No easy answers there. But let's move on to something a bit more futuristic. Mark Zuckerberg just unveiled Meta's prototype for augmented reality glasses, Orion.
The Zuck is back at it again, And this time, he's going all in on AR. He's saying these glasses will replace our smartphones. Imagine holographic images just layered over your real-world view, real-time translation, AI assistance, the whole 9 yards.
Sounds pretty sci-fi to me. How real is this, though? I mean, are we all going to be walking around with these things on our faces anytime soon?
The tech is definitely impressive, but it's still early days. There are big questions about how they'll make it work, how much it'll cost, and of course, the big one, privacy.
Right, because strapping on a device that's potentially recording everything you see and hear,
Yeah.
that's a bit of a privacy nightmare waiting to happen.
No kidding. Especially with facial recognition and location tracking becoming so advanced, privacy advocates are already freaking out, and rightfully so. We need to have a serious conversation about how to protect people's privacy before this tech becomes mainstream.
Absolutely. But I have to admit, the potential is pretty mind-blowing. Imagine walking down the street and getting real-time info about the businesses around you, or instantly translating a menu in a foreign country just by looking at it.
It's like having the internet overlaid on the real world. The applications are endless. But again, we need to figure out the privacy piece before this becomes the new normal.
No doubt about it. But speaking of the potential downsides of powerful tech, let's talk about the recent Gmail AI hack.
Oh man, this is a scary one. It shows just how easily AI can be used for bad stuff.
So this wasn't your typical phishing scam, right?
Nope, this was way more sophisticated. We're talking AI-generated voices that sound so real, it's freaky. Imagine getting an email that looks like a legit account recovery request from Google. It's got your name, references your recent activity, even includes a fake phone number that looks just like Google support.
So you call the number thinking you're talking to a real person.
And on the other end, it's an AI system trained to sound just like a Google support agent. It can chat with you, answer questions, and ultimately trick you into giving up your login info. It's like something out of a spy movie.
It's wild. I mean, how can you even trust what you're hearing anymore?
It's a tough one. This is a whole new level of phishing. Email providers need to step up their game big time. And we need to develop AI-powered defenses that can sniff out these scams before they reach your inboxes.
This is like an AI arms race. Right? The bad guys are using AI, so we need to fight back with even smarter AI.
Exactly. And in the meantime, we all need to be extra careful. Don't trust everything you see or hear online.
Good advice. And speaking of things we might not want to hear, there's this new study that found that ChatGPT, the AI chatbot from OpenAI, is actually outperforming doctors in diagnosing medical conditions.
Yeah, this one raised some eyebrows for sure. They tested ChatGPT on 6 tricky medical cases, and it got a 90% accuracy rate. Doctors who use ChatGPT as a tool got a 76% rate.
Hold on, so the AI was better at diagnosing these complex cases than the human doctors, even when the doctors had the AI helping them.
Yep. It was a limited study, sure, but it definitely makes you think. Are we heading towards a future where AI takes over the doctor's job?
Some folks are saying that's exactly where we're headed. AI is just too good at diagnosing.
I think it's more complicated than that. AI is a powerful tool, no doubt, but it's still just a tool. Medicine is about more than just ticking boxes on a checklist. You need human empathy, you need critical thinking, you need to be able to adapt to unexpected situations. Those are things AI just can't do yet.
So it's about finding the right balance, right?
Yep.
Using AI to help doctors do their jobs better, not replace them entirely.
That's the idea. Imagine AI analyzing medical images, suggesting diagnoses, helping doctors make treatment plans, all in real time. That frees up doctors to focus on the human side of things, building relationships with patients, understanding their individual needs, making those tough decisions that require human judgment.
That sounds like a much better future than robots taking over the hospital.
Totally agree. But we have to be careful here, too. We need to address the bias issue, make sure these AI systems are fair and equitable, and we have to avoid becoming overly reliant on them.
Right, doctors still need to be doctors. They can't just hand over all the decision-making to an algorithm.
Absolutely. But speaking of AI making waves in different fields, there's this whole thing about AI scientists emerging.
AI scientists, is that even a real thing?
It is. We're talking about researchers using AI to supercharge scientific discovery. Think drug discovery, materials science, climate modeling, even astrophysics.
So, like, AI is doing the science now?
Yeah. In a way, yeah. It can analyze huge amounts of data, run simulations, identify patterns that humans might miss. It's speeding up the research process in a big way.
That's incredible. But what does that mean for, actual human scientists? Are they out of a job?
I don't think so. It's more about collaboration. AI can handle the grunt work, the data crunching, and the repetitive tasks. That frees up human researchers to focus on the big picture, the creative problem solving, the things that require human intuition and insight.
So it's like instead of replacing scientists, AI is making them even better at their jobs.
Exactly. It's all about teamwork. But there are some ethical wrinkles to iron out here, too. Like, what about bias in AI-driven research? If the AI is trained on biased data, it could skew the results, lead to flawed conclusions.
So we need to make sure the AI is learning from the right sources, so to speak.
Yep. And we need to keep an eye on things, make sure these AI systems are being used responsibly, ethically.
Makes sense. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground already. And believe it or not, there's even more AI news to dive into. But for now, we're going to take a quick break.
We'll be back in a flash with more fascinating AI developments. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, everyone. We were just talking about AI scientists and how they're changing the research landscape. But, all this talk about ethics and bias in AI, well, there's this new report out about DeepSeek's R1 model. Turns out it might be a bit more prone to generating some not-so-great content.
Oh, really? Like, what are we talking about here? DeepSeek's already in hot water for data misuse and censorship. What else is going on?
Researchers are finding that R1 is spitting out a lot more, shall we say, harmful stuff, hate speech, misinformation, even instructions for potentially dangerous activities.
Wow, okay. That's not good. And is it just like a glitch in the system, or is there something more to this?
Hard to say for sure. Some folks think it could be the data they use to train the model. Garbage in, garbage out, right? If the data is full of biased or harmful content, the model's going to learn from that. Yeah, makes sense. But I thought you said it was hard to say for sure. Are some people thinking DeepSeek might be doing this on purpose?
Well, it's a controversial theory, but some researchers are whispering that maybe, just maybe, DeepSeek is building these biases into the model intentionally.
Whoa, hold on. Intentionally. Why would they do that?
It's all speculation at this point, but some think it could be about prioritizing performance and cost above all else. Maybe they're cutting corners, or maybe they think this is just how the game is played.
It's a pretty scary thought if you ask me, especially when this tech is already out there in the world.
Totally agree. This is why we need more regulation, more oversight, especially for companies like DeepSeek that are playing their cards close to the chest. We can't just let this stuff run wild.
Speaking of running wild, let's go back to that Gmail AI hack for a second. It's like a case study in how easily powerful AI tools can be used for bad stuff. Those AI-generated voices, it's just crazy how real they sound.
Right. It's like, how do you even know who or what you're talking to anymore? It's blurring the lines between reality and, well, fake reality, and it's only going to get harder to tell the difference.
So we could see more of these AI-powered phishing scams, not just email, but maybe social media, phone calls, all of it.
Oh, absolutely. And they'll just keep getting more sophisticated. It's a huge challenge for cybersecurity for sure. We need better defenses, better ways to detect these things.
It sounds like we need AI to fight AI.
Pretty much. It's an arms race. And right now, the bad guys have a head start. We all need to be extra vigilant. Don't trust everything you see or hear online, especially when it comes to things like account recovery requests and stuff like that.
Good advice. Okay, shifting gears a bit. We talked earlier about ChatGPT outperforming doctors in diagnoses. It's a pretty mind-blowing study. But what does it actually mean for the future of healthcare? Are we really going to have AI doctors anytime soon?
I don't think it's that simple. AI is amazing, don't get me wrong, but medicine is about more than just data and algorithms. It's about human connection, empathy, understanding the whole patient, not just their symptoms. I don't think AI can replace that, at least not yet.
So you're saying it's not about replacing doctors, but more about AI working alongside them.
Exactly. AI can be a powerful tool for doctors. Imagine AI analyzing medical images, flagging potential issues, helping doctors make faster, more accurate diagnoses. It could revolutionize things like drug discovery and personalized treatment plans.
So it's about making doctors better, not obsolete.
Exactly. But again, we need to be mindful of bias. We need to make sure these AI systems are being trained on diverse data sets so they can be effective for everyone. And we need to keep human doctors in the loop, ultimately.
AI can't just make all the decisions, right? It's got to be a partnership.
Couldn't agree more. Now, before we get too deep into the future of medicine, let's talk about something that's making waves in the art world. This AI-generated artwork that just won a major art competition.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It sparked a whole debate about whether AI can actually be creative. Some people were praising it. Others were, let's say, less than thrilled.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject. It really makes you think about what it means to be creative, what it means to be an artist. Some folks are saying this is the future of art. AI can create things that humans never could.
Like it's pushing the boundaries of what's possible, right?
Exactly. But then there's the other side, the folks who are saying, hold on, art is about human expression, emotion, experience. AI can mimic that, sure, but it can't truly understand it.
So it's like AI art might be technically impressive, but it's lacking that human spark.
That's the argument, yeah. Is it really art if there's no human heart behind it? It's a philosophical question, really.
And one that's not going to be answered anytime soon, I suspect.
Probably not. But regardless of where you stand on the AI art debate, it's definitely forcing us to rethink things, to challenge our assumptions about creativity and technology.
Which is a good thing, right? It's
Yeah.
good to be challenged, to have our perspectives broadened.
Absolutely. And that's kind of the theme of today's deep dive, isn't it? AI is challenging us in so many ways. It's pushing the boundaries of what's possible, but it's also raising some serious questions about ethics, bias, and the future of, well, everything.
It's a lot to wrap your head around, but it's exciting too. AI is changing the world right before our eyes, and we're all along for the ride.
Buckle up, because it's only going to get wilder from here.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've talked about a lot today, from DeepSeek and AI censorship to copyright lawsuits and those crazy AI-powered phishing scams. But before we sign off, I want to circle back to Mark Zuckerberg and his big AR glasses reveal. Those Orion glasses, it feels like they tie together so much of what we've been talking about today.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they represent this huge potential for AI to completely reshape entire industries, but they also bring up all these ethical questions we need to think about. We got to be careful with this stuff.
Absolutely. So Zuckerberg is basically saying, these glasses are going to replace our smartphones, right? Like that's his big vision. Imagine instead of staring at a tiny screen, you've got all this information, these holographic images just layered over your view of the real world.
It's wild, right? Real-time info, virtual meetings, immersive entertainment. It's like something straight out of like Ready Player One or something.
Totally. But I can't help but think, with all this awesome potential, there are some serious downsides too.
Oh, for sure. Privacy being the biggest one, right? We're talking about a device that could potentially be recording everything you see, everything you hear, where you go, who you talk to.
And with facial recognition tech getting so good, these glasses could be identifying people without them even knowing. It's a little creepy when you think about it.
No kidding. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
What
We've
about-
got to figure out who has access to all that data these glasses are collecting. How are they going to use it? How do we protect people's privacy in this new AR world? These are big questions we need to answer now before it's too late.
It's almost like we're about to step into this whole new reality, this blend of the digital and the physical.
Yeah.
And we have to figure out the rules of the game before things get out of hand.
Exactly. And it's not just privacy either. There are social implications too. Will these glasses make us even more disconnected from each other, or will they actually enhance our real-world interactions? It's hard to say.
It's a lot to consider. But hey, that's what we do here on the Deep Dive, right? We explore the good, the bad, and the ugly of all things AI. And today was no exception. We talked about DeepSeek's rise and their potential for, let's say, questionable AI practices. We dug into copyright laws and AI, and whether AI can even be truly creative. We talked about the very real dangers of AI being used for malicious purposes, like those phishing scams. And we explored the future of, well, pretty much everything, from healthcare to art to how we interact with the world around us.
It's a wild time to be alive, right? AI is changing everything so fast.
It is. And it's crucial that we stay informed, that we have these conversations, that we ask the tough questions, because the future of AI is ultimately up to us.
Well said. We got to be mindful of the risks, but we also can't be afraid to embrace the potential. It's a balancing act for sure.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have for today, folks. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring.